All right, everybody. It's the first video. This is chapter one, and we're going to talk about the scope of anatomy and physiology. Let's jump right into it. So, what is anatomy? Anatomy is the study of the form of something. All right, or the structure. That's typically the way we look at it. There's structure and there's function. The way something looks, the form of it, and the way it actually works. Anatomy means structure. There's different levels of anatomy that we could talk about. It's nice to understand the differences. Like gross anatomy are the things that you can see with the naked eye, right? So we could talk about teeth. You can see those easily. I don't know why I thought of that, but your hair. These are things you can see. And then you can go into the microscopic anatomy, right? And you can start to see more fine details, right? There's other ways to study anatomy. It's not just what you see. It could be other things such as palpitations, right? You can feel with your hands, right? And so on. So there are different ways that you can study anatomy. And again, it is the structure. Physiology is the function. All right. So it is a study of the function, and there are many different specialties to physiology because it depends on what we're looking at. One example, neurocellular, so on and so forth. Right. Comparative physiologies is when you're going to look at different species to learn more about humans. And we see this all the time with many different tests and studies. One example could be using mice. Right, we're going to test this medicine on a mouse to see how it reacts. That would be a comparative physiology because you're testing something on a different species to see how it impacts ours. Unity of form and function. Anatomy is the result of physiology, and physiology is made possible by anatomic structure. What does this mean? They go hand in hand. All right. The way something is structured will dictate how it works, right? And something works based on how it's structured, right? It sounds it's repeated here. But for example, let's look at any part of your body, right? Let's go with something like your bones, something nice and generic, right? Your long bones. Their structure is, generically speaking, they are strong, right? They are solid. They are tall. Maybe something like your femur. It's very long, right? Based on that structure, what is it likely going to do? Well, it just so happens that they are what create the solid foundation for the way your body looks. Without bones, you won't have the structure you have. Without your skull being made the way it is, you wouldn't have a head the way you have your head. Without that femur being the way it's shaped, you wouldn't have that part of your leg, right? So the point I'm trying to make is anatomy is the way something looks, and based on the way it looks, that'll dictate the function. You change the way something looks, it's very likely you will change its function. Okay, so one last example. If I have a hand, there's right, it's used to grab things. How do I know that? Look at the way it's structured. Again, this is a gross simplification, but look, I can grab things, right? Want me to prove it? Look, I just got my mouse. What? If I change the structure of my hand, so maybe I get rid of all the fingers, I'm not going to be able to grab things so easily. So that's the idea here. All right. Why am I still talking about this? What am I like? Let me check my video. I'm like probably like 3 minutes in already on this. Yeah, I'm almost 4 minutes in. Why am I still talking about this? Because it is one of the most important things you need to know going forward. Keep this in the back of your mind during all units. Ask yourself, why does this thing look the way it does? How does the way this thing look affect the way it works? All right, especially when we talk about things later on that people aren't too happy with. All right, typically those units are like the cells. Sorry, if you like cells, that's awesome. I love cells. But there are units that are more challenging for people. So think about, what does this thing look like? What might that mean? Right. So that's what I'm trying to get to, and that's really important. One more example is right here. Right. Looking at your heart, it's literally just a muscle with a whole bunch of holes in it that'll fill with blood, right? Its structure dictates function. You fill the heart up with solid muscle, it's not going to fill with blood very easy. It's not going to do its job the same way. Your mouth, another hole, things go into it, such as food. You eat it, goes down another tube You guys get what I'm saying. And that's the idea. So structure and function.